Hello everyone, my name is Amber and welcome to my channel. This is Amber Reads Romance and I'm going to start out by doing the Booktube Newbie Tag because I am new to Booktube and just kind of want to introduce all my interests with all things romance and smut and dark and all that. So I'm just going to go ahead and start out, just get into the questions. I may be looking on the side to see the questions, so just bear with me. So the first question is, why did you start this channel? My reason is because I kind of wanted something else to do. I work a 9-to-5 job, and I love reading. I love watching Booktube. I've loved discovering it the last few years, all the different Booktubers out there in the community. And so I really wanted to kind of get involved. I was really nervous the last couple of years. I wanted to do it, but I was too nervous to do it. So I'm just jumping in with the new year. I said, I'm going to finally do it. I love reading romance and just gushing about it. So that's why I wanted to start a Booktube channel. And the next question is, what are some fun and unique things you can bring to Booktube? I don't know about totally unique because I think there's a lot of different styles out there and a lot of different booktubers, but I will definitely be bringing my honest opinion. I'm not going to just kind of pussyfoot around or give a nice review here or just gush about, the books. Like if I don't like a book, I'm going to be honest about it. I do primarily read dark romance, so I'll bring a lot more dark romance recs and all of that. So I might not be unique, but it'll bring my own kind of taste in on like dark romance and all of that. Oh, and mafia, of course. So the next question is, what are you most excited for about this new channel? Honestly, it's just like talking about the books with people, with viewers. I would love to be part of the Booktube community. I think it seems so amazing how they do collabs and reading sprints and all that kind of stuff together. And I would just love to get involved. I'm not sure if that will happen, but I do think the Booktube community is pretty amazing on here and they're all really nice to each other. And they, hopefully they'll be willing to help me start out because I don't really know what I'm doing. So that's what I'm really most excited about. And the next question is, why do you love reading? I think this happens probably for most people is I like to escape my boring 9-to-5 kind of job, my boring life. I'm a single mom at home with my kid. Obviously my kid is grown now, so he's 19. So I like to read to just kind of escape. I love romance. I love getting to experience other worlds. Like obviously I would never have anything to do with these dark romances or, my life's pretty boring or mafia. So it's fun to jump into that. And I've always loved to read since I was really young. And the next question is, what book or series got you into reading? I read at a really young age, younger, and I got into reading just mostly, it actually started out with thrillers. I read a lot of like James Patterson, like Kiss the Girls. Looking back, I read stuff that probably wasn't age appropriate, but I loved it. And then, oh, sorry, my cats are attacking each other. Just bear with me. And then I really got into a historical romance and I read Kathleen E. Woodiwiss, which I know nowadays people aren't used to. Like it's pretty, dubious consent, non-com for like, historical. So that kind of subject matter isn't as easy to read now. But back then she was one of the first, and I loved Wolf and the Dove. I reread that like a million times. I love Shanna. Like I've read all her historical romances. So she got me into like historical. And then as I got older, I read other things. I didn't read Harry Potter till like way later because, I'm kind of aging myself. I was older and like college at that time. And then I did read Twilight, like pretty much everybody. And then I actually just got into fantasy. Like I became obsessed with, not specifically fantasy because it's almost like not really fantasy. I don't know how to kind of explain it, but it's Game of Thrones. Took over my life. I was obsessed with the show. I read all the books. I went online and watched a million videos about the prophecies and all this stuff. So Game of Thrones really hooked me. And I actually just, kind of got back into romance just recently, these last few years, and it's really like hooked me again. So the next question is, is, what questions would you ask your favorite booktubers? I guess just the tips and tricks of doing booktube, how, like, what they do, organization status, like ways of, like, because I just started using a spreadsheet to kind of track my reading, so I'm hoping that will be a good way of organizing, and just kind of, like, just helpful questions on what are the best ways to, build an audience, and, building booktube, and kind of get involved in the community. The next question is, what challenges do you think starting a booktube channel will be the hardest to overcome? I think challenges is kind of like setting aside the time to make sure I'm filming, editing, posting regular content, so that it's, viewers can know, oh, she's going to post 2 to 3 times a week, or what these days she'll post. So I need to figure out a way to be kind of on top of that, because I can procrastinate or leave things till the last minute. So I don't want to do that. And then also just negative comments and stuff, which I'm sure it's like that everywhere. So that might be kind of a challenge when you first start out. The next question is, when did you start reading? Like I said earlier, I read really young, really loved reading. As a family, we would always go camping, and I would read everywhere we went camping, on all vacations. I've always just been nonstop reading. We'd be at the beach, I'd be reading. So at a young age, I really got involved in reading, and it's kind of like part of our family kind of thing. We all were big readers. And the next question is, where do you read? I read everywhere. So most of the time I use Kindle Unlimited, which I love. So I always have books on my Kindle. I take that everywhere with me. That way, like, if I'm at the gas station, I'll read. While I'm sitting there pumping up, I'll read, not when I'm driving, but I do tend to read when I probably shouldn't have been reading. I read at work, on my lunches and my breaks. I also listen to audiobooks at my job. I'm really lucky that, like, I'm kind of doing clerical work, like busy on a computer in a cubicle all day. So I can just put in an earbud and listen to an audiobook at work. So that helps me. And then obviously I read at home. I'll read in bed. I even read in between, like, loading screens when I'm playing video games and it's like a long load time. Like, I'll read a book in between that too. So just everywhere, basically. And then what kind of books do you like to read? So I love primarily romance right now. Like, I love romance. I read a lot of dark romance, taboo, mafia. I want to read, sorry, my cats are going crazy while I'm filming, of course. I want to read a lot more historical this year, because I've kind of, like, slacked off on my historical romances. So I want to read more of those. But primarily I love dark. I love smut. I love the kinks. I'm here for it. So that's my primary reading. And then it says, what does your book collection look like? So right now it doesn't look great. I don't have as much books as I want. I got rid of books. And I'm trying to build up more of my romance collection, because I had a lot of other series, like thrillers, and I have my Game of Thrones series. I started building because my favorite author that I found these last couple of years is Sophie Lark. So I started getting her series right here, the Brutal Birthright series. I want to get, the Kingmakers and all that stuff. So there's some authors that I really want to, the authors that I love and the books that I could reread, those are the books that I want. So right now, like, I don't have much. I do have, I don't think it's in the shot, but I got into romance from reading after. I read it when COVID started, and I first read the first book, and then I had to buy the whole series, and I just read it back to back to back in a few days, and it really sucked me in and got me looking on. I found Booktube. I'd never looked that up before, and I realized this whole other thing and started looking up other romances. So I really do want to build my collection with, like, Sam Mariano, more Sophie Lark, just like some Cora Riley's that I love. So the Cumorah Chronicles, like, specific favorites that I have. I really want to build that collection. So hopefully it'll be building soon, because I do primarily read mostly from Kindle Unlimited, and then I use AnyPlay to listen to audiobooks. So I hope to build that collection. Just hasn't been on the budget right now with how tight money's been. But anyways, that's me. I hope you like and subscribe to this channel. I'm hoping to provide some more content, and I hope you come back. I really appreciate you watching this video. I know I'm sorry I was probably super awkward. I've never really filmed myself like this before, so bear with me. Hopefully I'll get better as time goes on. But thank you so much, and I hope to see you again soon.